The mockery. The great hall of the Galactic Council stretched endlessly into the stars. Its crystal walls reflected the light of 1,000 suns. Hundreds of alien species sat in their seats, looking down at the small platform in the center. On that platform stood one human, Ambassador James Chen. He wore a simple black suit. His hands were empty. He carried no weapons. No guard stood beside him. He was alone. The hall buzzed with strange sounds, clicking, hissing, growling. The aliens spoke to each other in their languages. Some pointed at the human. Some laughed. To them, humans were nothing special. Just another weak species who crawled out of their dirty little planet. James took a deep breath. His heart pounded in his chest, but he kept his face calm. He had practiced this moment 1,000 times. Earth's future depended on what happened next. Honored members of the Galactic Council, James began. His voice echoed through the massive hall. I come before you today with a desperate request. Humanity needs your help. A few aliens stopped talking. Most kept chattering among themselves. They did not seem interested, James continued. 3 months ago, an unknown enemy attacked our colonies. They came without warning, without mercy. Our colony on Mars, gone. 2 million people, dead in hours. Our stations around Jupiter, destroyed. Our ships, burning in space. His voice cracked slightly. He thought of the children, the families, the screaming that filled the emergency broadcasts before the signals went dark. We have fought back with everything we have, but this enemy is too strong. Their technology is centuries beyond ours. They do not talk. They do not negotiate. They only destroy. 15 million humans are dead, and they are coming for Earth itself. The hall grew slightly quieter. Some aliens were listening now. James looked up at the council leader, a tall, bird-like creature named Zekthor. His feathers were golden. His eyes were sharp and cold. We ask for protection, for weapons, for knowledge. We ask the Galactic Council to help us defend our home, to help us survive. Silence filled the hall for a moment. James felt a spark of hope. Maybe they would help. Maybe humanity had a chance. Then Zekthor opened his beak, and he laughed. It started as a small chuckle, a strange chirping sound. But it grew louder, sharper. Soon other aliens joined in. The laughter spread through the hall like fire. Hundreds of different sounds, roaring, clicking, hissing. But all of them were laughing at him. At humanity. At Earth. James felt his face burn. His fists clenched at his sides. But he stood still. He would not give them the satisfaction of seeing him break. Zekthor flapped his massive wings. Humans, he called out, his voice dripping with amusement. The weakest species in the known galaxy comes begging for help. More laughter erupted. A reptilian creature stood up. His scales glittered green. Look at them. No claws, no fangs. Their skin tears like paper. And they want US to protect them? A blob-like alien wobbled with laughter. They have no natural armor, no poison, no telepathy. They are babies playing in a dangerous universe. Zekthor raised a wing for silence. The laughter died down slowly. Ambassador Chen, he said, mockery thick in his voice. Let me explain something to you. The Galactic Council does not waste resources on failures. James felt something cold settle in his stomach. You humans barely left your own solar system, Zekthor continued. You still fight among yourselves. You destroy your own planet. You have nothing valuable to offer the galaxy. You are weak, fragile, pathetic. Other council members nodded. Some made sounds of agreement. Therefore, Zekthor announced loudly, the Galactic Council votes on Earth's request for aid. Lights appeared above each council member's seat. James watched them, hoping, praying. One by one, the lights turned red. Red meant no. Red meant rejection. Red meant humanity would die alone. Every single light turned red. Except one. One small alien in the far corner voted blue. Yes, but one vote meant nothing. The motion is denied, Zekthor declared. Humanity is not worth saving. Let this be a lesson. The weak have no place in the galaxy. Return to your dying planet, human. Learn your place in the natural order. The hall exploded with chatter again. The aliens turned away. To them, humanity was already forgotten, already dead. James stood there for a long moment, his jaw tight, his eyes burning. Then slowly, very slowly, his lips curved into a small smile. Very well. he said quietly, too quietly for most aliens to hear. But his words were being recorded, being sent back to Earth. You leave us no choice. He turned and walked toward the exit. His footsteps echoed on the crystal floor. Every alien in that hall thought they were watching a defeated man leaving. They were wrong. They were watching something far more dangerous. They were watching a human who had nothing left to lose. A human who had been pushed too far. A human who was about to remind the galaxy of something very important. Humans did not become Earth's dominant species by giving up. James reached the door and paused. He looked back at the council one last time. His smile grew wider, colder. You should have helped us, he whispered. The door closed behind him with a final echoing boom. The Galactic Council continued their day. They discussed trade routes, border disputes, petty politics. None of them knew they had just made the biggest mistake in galactic history. None of them knew that humanity's true nature was about to be unleashed, and none of them knew that in 6 months, they would be the ones begging. The mockery was over. The reckoning was about to begin. The Awakening, the shuttle carrying Ambassador James Chen, pierced through Earth's atmosphere like a falling star. Below him, the blue planet looked peaceful, beautiful. But James knew the truth. Humanity was dying, and the galaxy had chosen to watch it happen. The shuttle landed at Geneva Emergency Command Center. The building was buried deep underground, safe from attacks. For now, James walked through the metal corridors. Soldiers saluted him as he passed. Their faces were tired, scared. They had lost friends, family. Everyone had lost someone. He entered the war room. 50 people waited for him. Military generals, scientists, world leaders. They all looked at him with the same question in their eyes. Did the council help us? James shook his head slowly. They refused. They laughed at us. They called us weak, pathetic, not worth saving. Silence filled the room, heavy, crushing. A few people put their heads in their hands. One woman started crying quietly. General Sarah Martinez slammed her fist on the table. She was old now, gray hair, scars on her face from the Mars evacuation, but her eyes still burned with fire. Those bastards, she growled. We came to them with open hands. We begged for help, and they spat in our faces. What do we do now? Asked Dr. Yuki Tanaka. He was Earth's leading weapons scientist. His hands trembled as he spoke. Our ships are outmatched. Our weapons barely scratch their shields. We are fighting an enemy we cannot defeat. James walked to the head of the table. He placed both hands on the surface. His smile was gone now. His face was cold, hard. Then we change the game. Everyone looked at him. The council thinks we are weak because we have no claws, James said. His voice grew stronger with each word. They think we are helpless because we have no natural armor. They judge us by their own standards. They forgot to ask the most important question. What question? Asked General Martinez. James looked around the room. His eyes met each person's gaze. How did a species with no claws, no fangs, no armor, no poison, how did we become the dominant species on a planet filled with creatures that had all those things? The room grew very quiet. People were thinking, remembering. Dr. Tanaka spoke first. We used our minds. We built tools. We adapted. We hunted creatures 10 times our size, added Martinez. We survived ice ages, plagues. We fought wars that should have destroyed us. But we are still here. James nodded. Exactly. We survived because we do not play by nature's rules. We make our own rules. We do not have claws. We invented knives, swords, guns, missiles. We do not have armor. We built walls, castles, tanks, starships. He stood up straight. The council looks at us and sees weakness. They should have looked closer. They should have asked themselves, what kind of species? conquers a death world with nothing but soft skin and clever minds? A younger officer raised his hand. But sir, how does this help us now? The enemy has better technology, better weapons, better everything. James smiled again. That cold, dangerous smile. Better technology does not win wars. Better tactics do. Better strategy does. Better determination does. And nobody is more determined than a human who has been told they cannot survive. He pressed a button. A hologram appeared above the table. It showed Earth's remaining military forces, 50,000 ships. It looked like a lot, but compared to galactic standards, it was nothing. For 300 years, we built exploration vessels, James said. Beautiful ships, designed for science, for peace, for making friends in the galaxy. He pressed another button. The image changed. Starting today, we build war machines. The new ships looked different, ugly, brutal. No smooth curves, just hard angles, heavy armor, massive weapons. Ships designed for one purpose only: to kill. We stop fighting like scientists, James continued. We start fighting like humans. Like the predators we really are. General Martinez leaned forward. Her eyes gleamed. What is the plan? James expanded the hologram. It showed the enemy's territory. Red dots marked their bases, their supply lines, their fleet positions. The enemy thinks they are fighting a weak species. They are careless. They do not guard their supply lines well. They leave their bases exposed. They think we will just defend Earth and die slowly. And we won't? Someone asked. No, James said firmly. We take the fight to them. We hit them where it hurts. Their supply convoys, their isolated bases. We do not fight fair. We ambush, we trap, we make them afraid to sleep at night. Dr. Tanaka looked worried. But James, that is dishonorable. The galaxy has rules of war, codes of conduct. James laughed. It was a harsh sound. The galaxy has rules? Where were those rules when our children burned on Mars? Where was the code of conduct when millions died screaming? The Council told us the truth today. There are no rules. There is only survival. He looked at each person again. I know what I am asking. I am asking us to become something we are not proud of. To fight dirty. To be ruthless. To be cruel. But answer me this. Would you rather die with honor or live with shame? General Martinez stood up. I would rather win. Honor is for people who can afford it. We cannot. One by one, others stood. Scientists, soldiers, leaders, they all understood. Humanity had been pushed into a corner, and cornered animals were the most dangerous animals of all. How long do we have? Asked Martinez. 6 months, James replied. Maybe less. The enemy is gathering for their final attack on Earth. We have 6 months to become something the galaxy has never seen before. Then we do not waste a single day, Martinez said. She turned to her officers. Activate Protocol Omega. Every shipyard, every factory, every scientist. We build an army. The room exploded with activity. People rushed to their stations. Orders were given. Plans were made. James watched them work. He thought about the Council, about Zekthor's mocking laughter, about the red lights voting no. They had made a mistake. A terrible mistake. They thought refusing to help would make humans go away quietly. Instead, they had awakened something ancient. Something that had been sleeping beneath humanity's peaceful surface. They had awakened the same instinct that made humans hunt mammoths with sharpened sticks. The same fury that made humans cross frozen oceans. The same stubbornness that made humans split atoms and reach for the stars. They had awakened humanity's survival instinct, and that instinct had only one rule: win, no matter what it costs. 3 months later, the first human warship left the solar system. It was called Defiance. It was ugly, brutal, covered in weapons, and it was heading straight for enemy territory. The crew wore black uniforms now, no more bright colors, no more peaceful symbols, just efficiency, just purpose. The captain was young, only 30 years old, but she had lost her entire family on Mars. Her name was Commander Lisa Park. She stood on the bridge, watching the stars. Target locked, her weapons officer reported. Enemy supply convoy, 3 ships, lightly defended. Lisa's face showed no emotion. Fire everything. The Defiance unleashed hell. Missiles, railguns, plasma cannons. The enemy ships exploded before they could react, before they could send a distress signal. Enemy destroyed, the weapons officer said quietly. Lisa nodded. Good. Find the next target. Across human space, 50 more ships were doing the same thing. Hitting, running, destroying. The enemy was confused, angry. They had never fought an enemy like this before. Back in the council hall, Zekthor received reports, human attacks, everywhere, unpredictable, vicious. He dismissed them. Desperate acts of a dying species. Ignore them. But the attacks did not stop. They grew worse, more creative, more brutal. And in Geneva, James Chen watched the reports with satisfaction. The enemy was bleeding, slowly, but bleeding. They mocked us, he whispered to himself. They called us weak. Now they will learn what weakness really looks like, and it will be the last lesson they ever learn. The war had begun, and humanity was no longer the prey. They were the hunters. The storm 6 weeks after the first human attack, the enemy held an emergency meeting. Their war council gathered in their fortress, a massive structure floating in dark space. General Thakron slammed his clawed fist on the metal table. His scales were deep purple, almost black. His species had conquered 40 worlds. They had never lost a war, until now. Explain this. He roared, pointing at the hologram. It showed red marks across their territory. Each mark was a destroyed base, a lost convoy, a dead patrol. His officers looked nervous. One stepped forward. Sir, the humans are different. They do not fight like other species. Different? Thakron hissed. They are primitives. Weak creatures with soft skin. How are they destroying us? The officer pulled up battle recordings. Watch, sir. The hologram showed an enemy patrol. 6 warships flying through an asteroid field. Suddenly, human ships appeared from behind the asteroids. They fired, then disappeared again. The enemy ships tried to chase them, but more humans appeared from different directions. It was a trap. The enemy ships were destroyed in minutes. They ambush us, the officer explained. They hide, they wait. They do not fight with honor. Another recording played. It showed a supply base. Enemy soldiers guarding it. Then the lights went out, screaming. Gunfire in the darkness. When the lights came back on, every guard was dead. The supplies were gone. They attack at night, the officer continued. They sabotage our equipment. They poison our food supplies. They fight like demons. Thakron's eyes widened. This cannot be. They are scientists, explorers, peaceful. Not anymore, sir, the officer said quietly. Something changed. They are not the same species that begged the council for help. These humans, they want revenge. Thakron felt something he had not felt in decades. Fear. Meanwhile, in the great hall of the Galactic Council, chaos had arrived. Zekthor stood at his podium, his golden feathers ruffled with stress. The hall was filled with angry voices, dozens of species shouting at once. Order! Zekthor screeched. I demand order. The hall quieted slowly. A reptilian ambassador stood up. We must discuss the human situation. It can no longer be ignored. There is nothing to discuss, Zekthor said dismissively. The humans are fighting their war. It does not concern us. Doesn't concern us. Another alien jumped up. She was insectoid with multiple eyes. They have destroyed 800 enemy positions in 6 weeks. Their tactics are spreading fear across 3 sectors. Trade routes are disrupted because everyone is afraid of human ambushes. A large, bear-like creature growled. My cargo ships refuse to fly near human space. They say humans attack anything that moves. Without warning, without mercy, Zekthor waved a wing. Exaggerations, rumors. The humans are desperate. They will be destroyed soon and everything will return to normal. Will it? A quiet voice spoke from the corner. Everyone turned. It was Ambassador Krell, a small wise creature who rarely spoke. He was the only one who voted to help humanity. Play the recording. A technician activated the hologram. It showed footage from a destroyed enemy base. The image made several aliens gasp. The base was completely ruined. But that was not the shocking part. On the wall, burned into the metal in huge letters, were words in the human language. "You should have helped us." Below it a symbol, a human skull, and a message in Galactic Standard. "We are coming." The hall fell silent. Even Zekthor looked disturbed. "They left this message at 17 bases," Krell said softly. "They want us to see it. They want us to know. They have not forgotten our betrayal." "Betrayal?" Zekthor snapped. "We owed them nothing." "Perhaps," Krell replied, "but we created something dangerous. We took a peaceful species and pushed them into a corner. We forced them to become monsters. And now those monsters are winning." "Impossible," Zekthor said. "The enemy has superior technology." "Superior numbers?" "Technology does not matter," Krell said, "when your soldiers are afraid to leave their ships. When your officers do not know where the enemy will strike next. When every shadow might hide a human killer. The enemy is not losing because humans are stronger. They are losing because humans are smarter, more creative, more willing to do whatever it takes." Another recording played. This one showed an enemy commander's log. The alien's face filled the screen. He looked exhausted, terrified. "Day 43, the enemy commander said, his voice shaking. "We lost another outpost last night. No survivors, no warning. They struck during our sleep cycle. We never saw them. We never heard them. They are like ghosts, demons. My soldiers are breaking down. They hear sounds that are not there. They see humans in every shadow. Command says reinforcements are coming. But I do not think it matters. You cannot fight an enemy you cannot see. An enemy that does not fear death. An enemy that hates you more than they love their own lives." The recording ended. The council hall was silent. Back in Earth's war room, General Martinez studied the tactical display. Green dots showed human victories. There were hundreds now. "Status report," she ordered. An officer stood. "Enemy forces have retreated from 7 systems. Their supply lines are shattered. Morale is collapsing. Intelligence suggests their high command is arguing about whether to continue the war." Martinez allowed herself a small smile. "Good. What about casualties?" The officer's face fell. "We have lost 43 ships, 6,000 personnel, but we have destroyed over 2,000 enemy vessels and killed an estimated 200,000 enemy soldiers. 6,000 humans dead. It was a terrible price, but compared to the 15 million who died in the initial attacks, it was a victory. A brutal, bloody victory, but still a victory." Dr. Tanaka entered the room. He looked tired but excited. "General, the new weapons are ready. Project Wrath is complete." Martinez raised an eyebrow. "Show me." The hologram changed. It showed a new missile. "But this was not an ordinary weapon. We based it on human history," Tanaka explained. "On Earth, we had weapons that could destroy entire cities. We agreed never to use them again. But the galaxy has changed our minds." "Nuclear?" Martinez asked. "Fusion enhanced," Tanaka corrected. "Cleaner, more powerful, and completely legal under galactic law because we never signed their weapons treaties. They would not let us join, remember?" Martinez laughed. It was a cold sound. "So we can use weapons they banned themselves from using." "Exactly," Tanaka said. "We have 40 warheads ready, enough to destroy their 40 largest bases in one coordinated strike." Martinez thought about it. These weapons would kill millions. It would be the largest deliberate slaughter in human history. But she thought about Mars, about the children burning, about the Council's laughter. "Prepare the strike," she ordered. "Target their military bases only. No civilian centers. We are not them." "Yes, ma'am." 3 days later, 40 human ships jumped into enemy territory simultaneously. Each one carried a single missile. Each one had a single target. Commander Lisa Park sat in her ship, the Defiance. Her target was the enemy's largest military academy, where they trained their officers, where their future leaders learned to kill. "Target locked," her weapons officer said. Lisa thought about her family, her parents, her little brother, all dead on Mars. She thought about the faces of the enemy soldiers she had killed. They had faces, families. They were not evil, just following orders. But war did not care about faces. War did not care about families. War only cared about winning. Fire, she said. 40 missiles launched at the same moment. They crossed thousands of kilometers in seconds. The enemy detected them, tried to shoot them down, failed. 40 explosions lit up the darkness of space. 40 bases ceased to exist. 3 million enemy soldiers died in an instant. In the enemy fortress, General Thakron watched his entire military infrastructure disappear from the tactical display. His claws trembled. His voice was barely a whisper. "What have we done?" His communication officer ran in. "Sir, message from the humans. They are broadcasting on all frequencies." "Play it," Thakron said weakly. The screen showed Ambassador James Chen. But he was not in a suit anymore. He wore a military uniform, black, simple. On his collar were the stars of an admiral. "To the forces that attacked Earth," James said calmly. "You came to our home. You killed our families. You thought we were weak. You were wrong. This war is over. You have lost. Surrender now and we will show mercy. Refuse and we will erase you from existence. You have 12 hours to decide." The transmission ended. Thakron looked at his officers. They looked back with hollow eyes. They had no more bases, no more supplies, no more hope. "Send the surrender," Thakron said quietly. Back in the Galactic Council hall, Zekthor watched the same transmission. His beak hung open in shock. Around him, hundreds of aliens sat in stunned silence. The species they mocked, the species they refused to help, the species they called weak. That species had just won a war against an enemy the Council itself feared. Ambassador Krell stood up. "Now do you understand? Humanity did not need our help. They only needed our respect. We denied them both, and now we must face the consequences." "What consequences?" Zekthor asked nervously. Krell pointed at the display. "Look at their ships. They are not returning to Earth. They are coming here, to us." On the tactical screen, the human fleet was moving. Not home, but toward Council space. 50,000 warships, battle-hardened, bloodied, angry, and at their head flew a single ship. The Defiance. Commander Lisa Park at the helm. Zekthor felt his feathers go cold. "What do they want?" "What we denied them," Krell said softly. "Respect, recognition, justice, and an apology." The human fleet grew closer. Each ship carried a message burned into its hull. The same message left at destroyed enemy bases. "You should have helped us. The storm was coming." And the Galactic Council was about to learn what happens when you mock the humans. The new order, the Galactic Council chamber, had never been so quiet. Every species representative sat frozen in their seats. On the massive view screen, human warships filled the void of space. 50,000 vessels in perfect formation, silent, waiting. At the center of the formation, a single ship moved forward, the Defiance. Its hull was scarred from battle. Burn marks covered its armor, but it flew proudly, like a predator that had survived the hunt. Zekthor's feathers trembled as he watched. His voice cracked when he spoke. "They are not stopping. They are entering Council space. Should we activate defense systems?" asked a military officer. Ambassador Krell shook his head slowly. "No, if we fire on them, they will destroy us. Look at their formation. Look at their discipline. These are not the peaceful explorers who came begging for help. These are soldiers who just won a war." The human fleet stopped exactly 1,000 kilometers from the Council station, close enough to be threatening, far enough to avoid an accident. It was a calculated move, professional, cold. A transmission request appeared on the screen. Zekthor hesitated. His claw hovered over the accept button. Every alien in the chamber watched him. Finally, he pressed it. Ambassador James Chen appeared. But he looked different now, older, harder. His Black Admiral uniform was spotless. Behind him stood General Martinez and Commander Lisa Park. Both wore expressions of stone. "Honored Council," James said. His voice was calm, too calm. "We meet again." Zekthor tried to speak, failed, tried again. "Ambassador Chen, congratulations on your victory. The Council is pleased that—" "Stop," James interrupted. The single word cut through the air like a knife. "Do not pretend. Do not lie. We both remember what happened in this chamber. We remember the laughter, the mockery, the vote." The council hall was silent. Aliens who had laughed before now looked away in shame. James stepped closer to the camera. 15 million humans died while you watched. Millions more were wounded, traumatized, orphaned. Our colonies burned. Our ships exploded. Our children screamed for help that never came. His voice remained calm, but his eyes burned with cold fire. We came to you as friends. As equals, we asked for protection, for aid, for mercy. And you laughed at us. Zekthor found his voice. Ambassador, we made a mistake. The Council acknowledges a mistake? James laughed. It was not a happy sound. You call genocide a mistake? You call abandoning an entire species to extinction a mistake? No, Council leader. That was a choice. Your choice. He paused. Let his words sink in. But I did not come here for an apology. Words are cheap. We learned that lesson well. I came here to discuss the future. Another alien stood up. A large reptilian named Vorak. His voice was aggressive. You dare make demands? You bring warships to our home and threaten us? General Martinez stepped forward. Her voice was ice. Threaten you? If we wanted to threaten you, your station would already be dust. We came here to talk. But make no mistake, we can leave talking behind anytime we choose. Vorak sat down quickly. James nodded to Martinez. Then he looked back at the Council. Here is the situation. Humanity has proven itself. We defeated an enemy you feared. We did it alone. We did it with inferior technology. We did it because we had no other choice. Now the galaxy knows the truth. Humans are not weak. We are survivors. And survivors do not forget. He held up a data pad. The Council sent us an official invitation 3 days ago. You want us to join as full members. You offer trade agreements, technology exchanges, protection treaties. Very generous. Zekthor leaned forward hopefully. Yes, the Council recognizes humanity's strength. We refuse, James said flatly. Shock rippled through the chamber. Aliens whispered to each other in confusion. You refuse, Zekthor stammered. But why? This is what you wanted. James smiled. That cold, dangerous smile the Council had seen once before. No, that is what the old humanity wanted. The humanity that believed in cooperation, in trust, in mercy. You killed that humanity when you laughed at us. What stands before you now is something different, something you created. He gestured to the fleet behind him. We will join the Council. But on our terms, not yours. Zekthor's eyes narrowed. What terms? James began listing them. His voice was firm, unyielding. First, humanity receives full voting rights, equal to any founding member. No restrictions. No probation period. Several aliens began to protest. James spoke over them. Second, any species under threat of extinction has the right to request aid from the Council, and the Council must vote on that aid. No more ignoring desperate pleas. Krell nodded slowly. He approved. Third, James continued, humanity maintains its own military, independent of Council control. We will defend ourselves, always. We will never again trust our survival to others. Vorak stood up again. Unacceptable. No single species controls its own military. That is the Council's rule. James looked at him. Then change your rule, or we leave. And we take our technology with us, our battle tactics, our weapons, everything we learned. You can face the next threat alone. Like you forced us to do. The chamber erupted in argument. Some aliens supported the human demands. Others rejected them. The noise grew louder. General Martinez whispered something to James. He nodded. Enough, James said quietly. But somehow his voice carried through the chaos. The chamber fell silent. You are wasting time arguing. So let me make this simple. I will give you a demonstration. Commander Park? Lisa Park stepped forward. She pressed a button on her wrist device. Outside, the human fleet moved. Ships repositioned themselves with perfect precision. In seconds, they formed a new pattern. On the view screen, the tactical display showed what they had created. The ships formed a massive symbol. A human hand, extended, offering a handshake. But half the ships peeled away and formed a second symbol. A clenched fist. The message was clear. The choice is yours. James spoke into the silence. Humanity offers friendship, alliance, protection. We will stand with those who stand with us. We will share our knowledge, our strength, our determination. We will defend the weak, hunt the predators, bring justice where there was only cruelty. He paused. But if you reject us again, we will remember. We will withdraw from galactic affairs. We will build our own systems, our own trade routes, our own alliances. And when threats come, as they always do, do not expect us to help you, just as you did not help us. The fist symbol pulsed once on the screen. A warning. Krell stood up. I call for a vote. Humanity's terms. Accept or reject now. Zekthor looked around the chamber. He saw fear in alien eyes, but also respect. The humans had earned that respect with blood and fire. Very well, Zekthor said. All in favor of accepting humanity's terms. The lights appeared above each seat. Blue for yes, red for number. James watched. His face showed no emotion, but his heart pounded. One by one, lights turned blue. More and more. Even species that had laughed before now voted yes. Vorak's light turned blue. He looked angry about it, but he voted yes. Finally, only one light remained. Zekthor's. The council leader sat still for a long moment. He looked at James, at the scarred warships, at the future he had almost destroyed. His light turned blue. The motion passes unanimously, Zekthor announced. His voice was heavy. Humanity is accepted into the Galactic Council, with full rights, under the terms specified. The chamber remained quiet. This was not a celebration. This was a surrender. James nodded slowly. Thank you, Council Leader. Now there is one more matter to discuss. What now? Zekthor asked tiredly. James gestured. The view screen changed. It showed a small, peaceful species called the Tilari. Their planet was under attack by raiders. They had sent a plea to the Council. The Council had ignored it. The Tilari need help, James said. They are dying. Just like we were dying. The Council has done nothing, so humanity will act. We are sending ships to defend them. Today, you cannot, Vorak protested. The Council must approve. The Council had its chance, James interrupted. You did nothing, so we will. This is humanity's new role in the galaxy. We protect those who cannot protect themselves. We answer calls for help. We stand against the darkness, because we remember what it feels like to be abandoned, and we will never let another species suffer that fate. He looked directly at Zekthor. This is not a request. This is a notice. The humans are no longer asking permission. We are doing what is right. The Council can join us. Or stay out of our way, Krell spoke up. My people will join you. The Tilari deserve protection. One by one, other species agreed. They volunteered ships, resources, soldiers. The Council that had been divided was suddenly united, not by law, not by politics, but by shame. And by the example of humanity, Zekthor watched it happen, watched his authority slip away, watched humanity take control without ever demanding it. Finally he understood. Humans did not want power. They wanted justice, and that made them more dangerous than any conqueror. The Council will assist, Zekthor said quietly. We will help the Tilari, James smiled. This time it was genuine, warm. Thank you, Council Leader. That is all we ever wanted. For the strong to protect the weak, for the galaxy to work together, for mercy to matter. The transmission started to end, but James paused. One last thing. The alien who voted to help us, Ambassador Krell, we remember. Humanity does not forget its friends. He looked at Krell with respect. Your people will always have Earth as an ally. When you need us, we will come, no matter the cost. That is our promise. Krell's eyes glistened. He bowed his head in gratitude. The transmission ended. The human fleet began to move, but not away. They were moving toward the Tilari system, to keep their promise. Commander Lisa Park sat in her captain's chair on the Defiance. Her crew looked at her, waiting for orders. She thought about her family, about the humans who died, about the enemy she had destroyed, about the galaxy that was changing. Set course for Tilari space, she ordered. Maximum speed. Someone needs our help. And this time, we are answering the call. The Defiance jumped to faster than light speed. Behind it, the human fleet followed. And behind them, reluctantly, gratefully, came ships from dozens of other species. All flying together, all following humanity's lead. In the council chamber, Zekthor sat alone in his seat. The other aliens had left to prepare their ships, to help the Tilari, to prove they had learned. Krell approached him. You made the right choice, Zekthor sighed. Did I? We have given humans power. What if they abuse it? What if they become tyrants? Krell smiled. I do not think so. Humans could have destroyed us today. They had the power, the reason, the right. But they chose mercy. They chose to build instead of destroy. That is not the behavior of tyrants. He placed a gentle hand on Zekthor's wing. We laughed at them, called them weak. But they were always strong. We just did not understand their strength. It is not in their claws or their armor. It is in their hearts, in their refusal to give up, in their willingness to fight for others even after being betrayed. Zekthor nodded slowly. We created something. When we rejected them? Yes, Krell agreed. We created guardians, protectors. The galaxy needs them. We just did not know it until now. Far away in the Telari system, raiders were attacking a helpless planet, burning villages, taking slaves, destroying hope. Then the sky lit up with new stars, human ships dropping out of faster than light, the Defiance leading them all. A transmission reached the raiders. Commander Lisa Park's face appeared on their screens. Her voice was calm, final. This is Commander Park of the human vessel Defiance. You are attacking a species under our protection. Leave now, or learn what happens to bullies when the humans arrive. The raiders looked at their sensors. They saw the scarred warships, the battle-worn fleet. They had heard the stories about the species that destroyed an empire, about the soft-skinned creatures who fought like demons. The raiders ran fast. On the planet below, the Telari looked up at the sky, at the ships that came to save them. Ships from species they had never met, led by humans they had only heard about in whispers. One young Telari child asked her mother, "Who are they?" The mother smiled through her tears. "Our friends. The ones who remember what it means to be afraid. The ones who help." Above them, the human fleet took position, silent, protective, patient. The galaxy had changed. The weak had become strong. The abandoned had become saviors. The laughed at had become legends. And in the great hall of the Galactic Council, a new era had begun. An era where mercy mattered, where strength protected instead of destroyed, where humanity stood as a reminder of a simple truth: never underestimate someone who has nothing left to lose. Because they might just save everyone, including those who abandoned them.